Um, the Gemara that we learned yesterday, we were just finishing up this Agadata Gemara, this Homiletic Gemara, and we're talking about all about the Yetzer Hara and about the loss of Levi. And the Gemara mentions that there's four charoshim, there's four carpenters that it mentions in Yeshaya. Hashem showed me these four charoshim, and who are they? It's Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben Yosef, Eliyahu, and Kohen Tzedek. So Mashiach, okay, we know a little about Eliyahu. We know Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben Yosef. We know about Eliyahu Hanavi. But then, and what's their build? What did they build? So the Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben Yosef, they're basically building the Beis Hamikdash. Of course, it's a discussion of who actually builds the Beis Hamikdash. You know, is it built by man? Is it built by Mashiach? Is it built by Hashem? So we once touched on this maybe 2 months ago or something. We touched on another source about if Mashiach is actually the one who's building the Beis Hamikdash, or is the Hashem building it? It's really in Shamayim already. Here it gives the implication like it's Mashiach, and not only is it Mashiach who's building Beis Hamikdash, but it's also Mashiach ben Yosef. He's called one of the these are Charoshim, these are the carpenters. And then Eliyahu Hanavi, he built the Mizbeach on Har Carmel. And then we have Shem. What did he build? So here the Gemara is basically implying, Rashi spells it out. I guess it's a medrash that they bring from Bereshis Rabbah. Rashi brings from Bereshis Rabbah. Yeah, so it says it's a medrash. It says Bereshis Rabbah Bereshis Rabbah, he brings that Malki Tzedek is called a Kohen Tzedek, that he came towards Avraham and he blessed him and strengthened him. And he's called a Chorash, a carpenter, because he built the Teva together with his father. I guess we'll have to take a look where that in that Bereshis Rabbah. It sounds like a interesting medrash, chapter 44. Maybe we could just pull it up here. Let's see. Chapter 44, Bereshis Rabbah. Yeah, well, let's see. It's Medrash. Got Bereshis Rabbah here. And let's see if we could pull it up. So we're looking up this medrash about Shem and Avraham. The Shem, the son of Noach, and Avraham, and that Shem helped his father build the Teva, and that he helped Avraham by blessing him and strengthening him. Yeah, let's take a look here. Okay, here. So it says, fear not Avraham, Altira Avram. So who was he afraid of? Whom did he fear? So it says, Rabbi Barachia says he feared Shem. Wow. Mishem Nisyore. This is the pasuk. It says in Yeshaya, Ra'o Iyem v'yiro k'tzois haaretz yachradu. And just like the Iyem, the islands, Mesiyamim Bayam. So also Avram was a Shem Mesuyamim Ba'ilam. So just like the islands, it says the pasuk, the islands saw and feared, the ends of the earth trembled. Just like the islands are visible, are conspicuous in the sea, so Avram and Shem were conspicuous in the world, and feared. Each one feared the other. This one, Avram, feared the other, saying, "Perhaps Shem has resentment in his heart against me because I killed his descendants." And Shem feared the others, saying, "Perhaps Avram has resentment in his heart against me because I produce wicked offspring." So it says the ends of the earth. This one was situated at one end of the earth, and that one was situated at the other end of the earth. And they approached and came. Each one approached the other. Each man would help the other. This one, Shem, helped the other one with blessings, and Avram helped the other one with gifts. This one helped the other one with blessings. He blessed him, and he said, "Blessed is Avram to Hashem, the Most High." And that one helped the other one with gifts. He gave him a tithe from everything. And then it says this pasuk: the carpenter encouraged the smith. So this is a pasuk that this refers to Shem, who built the ark. The smith, this refers to Avram, whom the Holy One, blessed be He, refined in the fiery furnace. And the one who smooths with a hammer, one who strikes the, and one who smooths with a hammer, one who strikes on the anvil, as he would direct his hammer and strike all the people of the world onto a single path to Hashem, saying of the glue, it is good. These are the nations of the world who say it is preferable to adhere to the God of Avram. We will not adhere to Nimrod's idolatry. He strengthened it with nails. Avram strengthened Shem and mitzvahs with good deeds. As a result, it should not topple, referring to Avram. Let me read the Hebrew over here. So that this is a medrash. So basically it's saying Shem was vayechazek chorosh. Shem, it says Shem strengthened the carpenter, meaning that it's Shem that he made the teva. As tzayref, so it says chorosh, that he strengthened the tzayref, the refiner. This is Abraham. That Hashem refined him in the Kivshan. Machlish patish as hoilam pam shehechlik patish v'holam as kol ba'yolam derecha achas l'makam. He tried to attach people to Hashem, and he strengthened them with masmerim, with nails, meaning he attached the hechzik Avram as Shem b'mitzvahs. So Avram strengthened Shem with mitzvahs and maisim tovim v'lo yimait Avraham. So the end is Avram will not topple, will not falter. All right. So anyway, that's the carpenter encouraged the smith, refers to Shem, who built the ark, and it refers to the smith refers to Avraham, that he strengthened him, who was refined in a furnace. He's called the smith.
So, Rabbi.
So he's called a carpenter. So Shem is called a carpenter because he built the ark, and he encouraged the smith. That means he encouraged Abraham. Now let's look back in Rashi. Just 1 second. Now we see what the pasuk is saying. The charash, the carpenter, strengthened the tzayrev. Gracious Rabbi, it explains Malki Tzedek went to Avram and blessed him and strengthened him. So Avram is the tzayrev. Shem is called the charash because he built the teva with his father. It's interesting. We normally think of the teva was built by Noach alone. And here we see that the Gemara tells us, no, it wasn't just Noach. It was Shem, his son, helped him build it. So Shem is also called a charash. And then when Zechariah saw the vision of 4 carpenters, one of them was Shem. He's called a Kohen Tzedek. All right. Yes, Jeffrey, you wanted to say something?
If people want to follow up on this, it's the Haftarah for Vayikra, the section in Yeshayahu that he's talking about. Is in the Haftarah for Vayikra. Was my friend's bar mitzvah parsha, so that's why I know it. And that's where you have the word choroshim. Okay, and
so
the way
you're referring to the Haftarah in Zechariah or in Yeshaya?
No, it's in Yeshaya.
So Yeshaya, it doesn't. Is this the one where it says Chorash vayachazek Chorash as Tzoref? That's what you're referring to.
I think so, but I didn't find that pasuk yet. But it tells you.
Perek Mem Aleph Pasuk Zion.
You know, in my book, it doesn't even tell me what chapter it is. I have a tikkun here. It's printed long ago, and it doesn't even tell us that.
Okay. Anyway, we'll take a look after. But
the only other point that I wanted to say was that chorosh means, generally speaking, a rather than say carpenter or a smith, that it's used for all of those things. So it has that meaning that like a special kind of technician.
Okay. And here it does. It divides chorosh and tzoref, so you have to translate it differently than tzoref.
Yes.
The chorosh, otherwise it would say vayachazek chorosh as chorosh. You know, so it obviously differentiates between the chorosh and the tzoref. My guess is that chorosh has two meanings. One, like you're saying, that it's more inclusive, and one that it's more specific. And you know what I mean? Where it's specifically referring to more of a carpenter type of person. But even though in a general sense you could use it loosely, that would be my guess. But I'm not an expert in dictionary. You know.
Well, it's an amazing haftarah because it tells you all the tools, names of tools, and of wood that they use for the different kinds of construction, and that's why they're associating it with these other characters.
Right. Okay. And the purpose of what we're really bringing is the pasuk in Zechariah, and the reason we're bringing it is to bring out the fact that these charoshim, these expert carpenters, are going to destroy the horns of the goyim. So that's like the main goal that Hashem showed Zechariah this vision of the four carpenters, and it seems that they're going to help us get rid of the goyim. Where do we see that? So Rav Sheshes had asked a contradiction that he says, if these are the carpenters, so how are you going to explain where it says Eila hakronos asher zeiru es Yehuda, meaning these are the kronos that are going to gore Judah, and it sounds that they're going to do like they're going to hurt us. And you're saying that they're in other words, these are gonna they're gonna scatter us. I guess that would be a better translation. They're gonna scatter us, and that doesn't seem like this fits with those four people that you're mentioning, that you want to say that they're seemingly going to bring us back. That's the other pasuk. Again, pasuk Gimel is implying that they're going to bring us back. So again, there's a pasuk Gimel and a pasuk Daled. Pasuk Gimel is Vayarenu Hashem arba charoshim. Pasuk Daled is Va'imar ma'ela boim lasos v'yamar leimar ela hakrones asher zeru as Yehuda kfi ish le'nasa roishai no'evayu ela hachrodos liyadis as karnes hagoyim anoisim keren alaretz Yehuda lazaroisa. So the initial half of the pasuk sounds like it's saying that they're going to disperse the Yidden. So Rav Chana Bar Bizna answers Rav Sheshes. At the end of the pasuk, you see that they're going to destroy the goyim. So you saw these charashim, these carpenters, and this what that you saw. They're coming to, to get rid of the goyim, and I mean it's of course, there's a lot of mystical meaning in these psukim and the Gemara, what the Gemara is trying to explain. But just on a simple level, that these are the people who are going to scare the goyim, something along those lines. I don't know if you have anything else over there in the Steinsaltz, David, or if anyone has any other insights. But this is this is Gemara that you don't always understand the depths unless you have the Kabbalists helping us, with some deeper insights. But anyway, so that's what he's.
What is this again?
Are you familiar? Do you have this Gemara there with the 4 carpenters? Does he add anything, Rabbi Steinsaltz, or this is all like you have the Gemara there with the pasuk in Zechariah about the 4 carpenters and Mashiach ben Yosef, Mashiach ben David, Eliyahu, Kohen Tzedek, which refers to shame. It's on page 52b.
I have the 7 shepherds.
This is right before that. The paragraph before that.
The 4 craftsmen, yeah.
Yeah.
It says.
Does he add anything to it?
Yeah, it says, see Rashi, who explains why each of the 4 was referred to as a craftsman. Some explain that the 4 are famous for their victorious battles against the wicked. Some, including Rashi, explain that the righteous priest is Melchizedek, king of Shalem, who assisted Abraham in his battle against the 4 kings. Arachoner.
All right. So does he talk about how they're going to fight the goyim in the future, in the world, in the time to come?
No, he doesn't say anything beyond that.
Okay, so
and he has Kohen Tzedek. Yeah, you did that already. He says some explain that the Kohen Tzedek, the righteous high priest, is the Kohen Gadol who will serve in the Beis Hamikdash after the coming of Mashiach.
So different than Rashi. That would be different than Rashi. Rashi learns that it's talking about shame, and so there's does he say a source who that is? Who says that?
Yeah, he says this is an amalgam. That's like a combo of Aaron HaKohen and Ezra the scribe. See Asara Maimaros.
Asara Maimaros. Okay. That it means the Kohen, the Kohen when Mashiach comes. Interesting.
Yeah, Kohen Gadol. Yeah.
Kohen Gadol when Mashiach comes. And Asar Maimaris, yeah. All right. Anyway, bottom line is that the simple reading of the pasuk sounds like these 4 charashim are gonna hurt the Yidden. They're gonna spread out the Yidden, but really it must be talking about 2 groups. There's the goyim that are gonna hurt the Yidden, and then there's these 4 charashim are gonna bring us back. They're gonna scare the goyim and destroy the goyim, and they're gonna help out the Yidden. Rav Sheshes was appreciative to Rav Chana that he understood, that he was quoted, that he understood this insight of Rav Shimon Chasida very well, to the extent that he was able to answer his question and sort of like explain the psukim. Okay, now the next Gemara just mentioned about the Shmoina, Shiva Royim Shmoina and Sichayadim, and again, this is also like very mystical. We don't really know what the concept is, but there is 7 shepherds and 8 like princes or leaders, and the 7 shepherds are David, and on the right of him, David is in the middle, and on the right of him is Adam, Shais, and Mesushelach, who were basically Adam, Shais, and Mesushelach. Well, Mesushelach we consider a tzaddik, and Shais as well is from the tzaddikim in the world before the Mabul, and even Adam is considered a tzaddik. Interestingly enough, that's the and then people started sinning by the Dar Enosh, by Shase's son. But before that, we considered them tzaddikim, and we know that Mesushelach was a tzaddik because pushed off the Mabul for a week. And then you have on the other side of David, the other is Avram, Yaakov, and Moshe. And so these are the 7 royim, 7 shepherds. And it's interesting that Yitzchok is not counted in Rashi. We mentioned Rashi yesterday that Yitzchok was busy making, speaking positive about the Yidden and making some type of deal with Hashem. It's a Gemara in Shabbos. So basically, Yitzchok is not part of these, the Shiva Royim. And then there's Shmoina, Nesicha, Yadim, these 8 princes. One of them is Yishai, who we know never sinned. And then you have Shaul, and Shmuel, and Amos, Tzefania. These are prophets, Shmuel, Amos, Tzefania, Tzidkiah, and Tzidkiah was considered righteous. He was a tzaddik, or some say it's not Tzidkiah, it's really Chizkiah. So Chizkiah, we know, was definitely very righteous, and Mashiach and Eliyahu. So somehow, and Rashi says he doesn't know what's unique about them, but they are basically called the Shmoina Nesicha Yadam, and they're the 8 princes of man. And this was based on a pasuk over here that says V'haya zeh shalom Asher ki yava b'artseinu v'chidrech b'amneseinu v'akibanu alav. So in other words, Ashur is going to come to our land, but we're going to have peace, and the 7 royim Shmoina Nesicha Yadam are somehow going to protect us and fight against if they're going to somehow make sure that Ashur doesn't hurt us. What is that?
Sorry.
Oh, so that's the meaning of a pasuk in Micha. Again, these are psukim that are about the time when Mashiach comes. We don't know exactly what every detail means, but we're going to have these Shiva Royim and Shmoina Nesicha Yadam, that if Asher tries to start up, they're going to protect us. Okay. Then the Gemara, now we're up to the new Gemara. So we're going to start.
Did you say, Rabbi, about Yitzchok, why he's not listed among them?
Yeah, but I didn't mention the whole story of Yitzchok's fighting with Hashem. I just mentioned that there's a discussion in Gemara Shabbos where he tells Hashem to protect. He speaks positive about the Yidden, and he says that how much time do you really expect them to learn Torah and to be involved in Ruchnius? They have to sleep and they have to eat and they have to do, how much time is it already? And if you calculate all their life, so it comes to only this amount of time that we're dealing with. And so you take half and I'll take half, Yitzchok tells Hashem, and we should forget about it. So Yitzchok is involved in protecting the Yidden, and therefore he's left out of this group.
So here's a note from
saves them from Gehenna. He takes them out of Gehenna. He says Kiato Avinu. Yeah. So what? Tell us the note. Yeah. What does the note say?
So he says the Maharsha notes that with regards to most of them, it was taught explicitly or even implicitly that they were at one time or another actual shepherds, and they were therefore called shepherds, and that's why Yitzchok is not listed among them, as he was a farmer.
Uh-huh. Who says that?
The Maharsha.
The Maharsha. Interesting. take a fast look. The Marsha. Nun base, Amud base.
He also says, see Rashi on that note.
Yeah. So Rashi brings what I was bringing about Yitzchok saving us from Gehenna. I don't see the Marsha saying that. Oh yeah, he does. Okay. So he says they're called shepherds physically, right? David was a shepherd, Yaakov was a shepherd for Lavan's sheep. Moshe was a shepherd. Shais, it says Shais Hevel was a shepherd. Um, mhm. So David Yel Iker Ben Minhan Rayim B'Makam Manhigim. The Marshal says the reason they're called shepherds versus leaders. I don't see where he says about Yitzchok. Yeah. All right. Okay, we're going to continue with the new Gemara. The Gemara is on page 52b. We're about 7 lines, maybe, or 8 lines from the bottom of the page. Arba'a sulamais. 4 ladders. It says the Mishnah had said that there was menorahs and there was 4 bowls of gold on top of these candelabras, and there were 4 ladders for each of these candelabras. Tana goiva shel menorah chamisha mama. So that was taught in a brisa that the height of the menorah was 50 amos high, and okay, sorry about that. Now the Gemara continues and says, "Rabbi Yoladim shal perchikun of Yedem kadei shemen shal me'av esav lug." So there were 4 children. There were 4 the youth of the young ones of the Kayanim, and in their hands they had pitchers of oil, 120 lug. So the question is the 120 lug each or 120 lug per menorah, which would be divided by 4? So Gemara says, "Ibailuhu may have some lug kulu." Is it was that the entire amount? Meaning, if you divide it by 4, you have 120 lug. Each one had 30. Or each one had 120 lug. So the Gemara says, "Tashma, come in here. There's a brisa of uvideyam kadisham and shal shloishim lug, that there was pitchers of oil, 30 lug each." And Shehem Kulam may have asked him, look, that altogether it equals 120 lug. Now, it does seem like there's a connection between the 120 lug and the fact that the life of a man is 120 years. It seems to be connected to the fact that there's a concept of tshuva during Sukkot. During Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, the tshuva is me'ira, from fear. Sukkot is tshuva me'ava. So it seems like there were certain things they did that involved tshuva, even though it's a different level of tshuva, but there were like certain hints to it. And this would be one of them that, you reminds a person about that they have 120 years to live, that they should make sure, you're not here forever, and every day is valuable. So it would be like a reminder to do tshuva. That's sort of like an understanding here. It's mentioned in one of the commentaries brings that. Tana, we learned in a brisa. Vehain, these youth that went up the ladders and held these pitchers of these barrels of 30 lug of oil, they were even more impressive than the son of Marta ben Bas Baitus, Marta, the daughter of Baitus. She was a wealthy widow and lived at the end of the second Beis Hamikdash, and her husband wasn't famous, so therefore they said the children of her instead of her husband. Now, she afterwards married Yeshua ben Gamla, so I guess she became very respected among the scholars. But anyway, so she had children from the previous marriage, and she had this child from a previous marriage. So this child was her son from previous marriage. He was very strong, and he was a kohen, and he was very strong. Amru al Banashal Marta ben Bas Baitus, and they said about him that this son of Marta Bas Baitus, that he was able to lift up. He would take the two thighs of a big ox, that was so big it was valued at 1,000 zuz. He would be bought for 1,000 zuz. That means it's a nice big one. Umahalech, and he would walk. Akev betzad gudel, his heel of his first foot, would be by the toe, the big toe of his second foot. And normally you go fast when you carry a heavy load, but he was able to go slow and walk smaller steps, even because he was so strong. And Lasses came, but they wouldn't let him do this, even though he was Mishum Beroivam Hadras Melech. They wouldn't let him hold the whole thing himself, and to hold the two thighs. Instead, they would have more people involved, and they would divide it into 24 koyanim would carry up this bull. But the Gemara says, "My mishubachan, how were these youth even more impressive?" Ilay mishum yukra, if you want to say because of the heaviness, hani yakiret fei, the two thighs are much heavier than 30 lug. So the Gemara says, "Ela hasam kevesh umaruba v'loy zakif." There, what this son of Marta did was a kevesh; it was a ramp. Umaruba v'loy zakif, and it wasn't steep. And
here he says that the two thighs can weigh as much as 200 kilograms, which I guess around 400 pounds. And in contrast, 30, is that right?
Yeah, 30 lug.
Yeah, and then 30 lug weighs only about 40 kilograms.
Right. Yeah, it seems pretty obvious if you just say the 30 lug versus two thighs of a bull. Yeah, it sounds like it's a lot heavier. But anyway, the bottom line is that what they had to do, so here it was ladders that had to go straight up. It's very steep, and so they needed much more strength. So it might have been lighter, but the walking was a lot more intense. And so that's what it mentions about these young koyanim that they carried this. It was quite impressive. Okay, then the Mishnah said, "V'lo haya chotzer b'Yushalayim." There was no courtyard in Yerushalayim that didn't have the light from the Beis HaShoeva. Whereas as Tana was taught that the light from this light, it says Isha, in the new page 53A, 53A, Isha Isa Beirez Chitim Lar Shal Beis HaShoeva. A woman would check the wheat. She could check the wheat or from with the light of the Beis HaShoeva. From this light, she was able to see. It was so strong, and she was able to see the wheat well. And now the thing is that Taisus has a problem over here. That how would she benefit from the wicks and the oil of the hegdish? Are you allowed to benefit from it? And even though it does say that you're allowed to benefit from the mara, from the light, from the from seeing things, and from the smell, and from the coil, the sound, that you're allowed to benefit from. But the thing is that there's an isser. There's still even though it says there's no me'ilah, but you're still prohibited from benefiting from it, even though you don't get the punishment of me'ilah. It's not considered me'ilah. Nevertheless, it's prohibited. So the thing is that it doesn't mean that they would check their wheat from the light of the Beis HaShoeva. Rather, it means that they could, from that light, you could have checked the wheat. That's the way Taisus explains it. The question is if the Yerushalmi agrees with this. It could be that the Yerushalmi disagrees and says it's actually permissible. It's a little. It seems like a source in Yerushalmi that it would be permissible to even actually use and benefit in a way that's not actually using the holy material, just getting like external benefit by seeing the light and benefiting from the light. But anyway, bottom line is the Bavli doesn't hold to that, and the Ar Gemara would hold that it doesn't mean that a woman would actually do this, but a woman could do this. And I'm not sure what it means she would check the wheat. Does it mean she would choose which wheat she wants, or does it mean like she would check it from, make sure there's no stones in it? Probably that's what it means. In the olden days, they used to have dirt. They would have dirt or other material inside the wheat, so they have to check it and see it. Maybe that's what it refers to. I don't know the practical side of it. I don't know if David, I don't know if you see anything over there about what exactly they were checking for. I'm guessing they would check for stones or something.
It just says a woman will be able to sort the wheat.
Sort it.
S-O-R-T. Yeah.
Yeah. Sort it. So that means that they would divide the white wheat from the whole wheat, or sort it. I don't know. Sort the wheat. Remove the fiber, maybe. Anyway, okay. Now they go
the fine wheat from the less fine wheat.
The fine from the less fine, but that maybe. I would think that would be just you would grind it more. Anyway, well, Jeffrey, you want to say something?
I know I've seen people on Pesach. They examine the rice that they use to make sure that it doesn't have wheat mixed with it.
Yeah.
And they do it on the table. They take a nice fresh tablecloth and they throw all, but as in the sack. So they used to reuse the sacks. That was the problem.
Well, we check rice to see if there's any bugs. I don't know. Maybe they did that as well. Maybe they checked the wheat to see if there's bugs. And also, people normally sift the wheat. That's what I was thinking. You don't need to look when you sift wheat. You don't have to look. You just whatever gets through, you use. So they didn't need light. You don't need light to sift it. But then to maybe to check for bugs, but I don't know if it was common to have bugs in those days of wheat. Like even today, I don't know if it's common to have bugs. I don't know. But anyway, he just uses this term that they would be boider. They would check it, or they would separate it, or choose it, or use the light for this whatever sorting they were doing. So the Gemara now says Chasidim bi'anshe Maisa. This is the Mishnah said that the people who would dance were not everyone. It was really the Chasidim and the Anshe Maisa. They would dance and people would sing in front of them. So Tana Rabbanan, the rabbis taught in a Braisa, Yishman Maimer Mashri al Desenu Shaloi Bisha Ziknasenu. Praised, some of them would say, praised is our youth that we did not sin and embarrass us when we get older. Who was that? Elu Chasidim bi'anshe Maisa. These are the Chasidim and the Anshe Maisa, the people who were righteous and pious, people of action that didn't sin. And then it says, Yesh mehem oimrim, some of them would say, Ashrei ziknosenu shechipras yaldusenu. Praised is our elderly years that we have atoned for our youth, and that would be Elu Balei Tshuva. This is the Balei Tshuva would say that. And then it says, Elu v'Elu Oimrim, both of them would say, Ashrei Mishalei Chata, praise is someone who never sinned. Umisha Chata Yashuv Yimcholoi, the person who sinned should do tshuva and he'll be forgiven. So these were the this was part of their like praising Hashem, that we have either thank you for helping us not sin, or thank you for allowing us to do tshuva. And seemingly, again, this is connected to this concept of the fact that Yom Kippur is tshuva miyira, but Sukkot has an element of tshuva in it, tshuva me'ava, tshuva out of love. And that's why it's right next to Yom Kippur. It's like a continuation until Hoshana Rabbah, which is like a second Yom Kippur almost. So we have this people, the righteous would say this type of praise to Hashem, that thank you for allowing us either not to sin or to do tshuva, and praiseworthy are those that never sin. The person who sinned, they can do tshuva. And
here he has a note on Ashrei, on the word Shekipra. He says there's a variant reading. This is from the Meiri. There's a variant reading, Shekifra, from the word kefira, which means denial. The phrase would then read, our old age negated the sinful actions of our youth because we repented.
Wow. Okay, that's an interesting shot. Okay. Tanya was taught in a Bryce, all about Hillel Zakin. It was said about Hillel Zakin, Hillel the elder. When he was rejoicing at the joy of the ceremony of the water drawing, Amar Cain, he said as follows: Emanikan Hakolkan. It's a little surprising, the wording that he uses, but one understanding is he was speaking in the name of Hashem. That Imanikan, one second, where am I here? Imanikan Akolkan. If I am here, meaning as long as I am resting my Shechinah on the Beis Hamikdash, I want the Beis Hamikdash, so people come, everyone comes here. So if I am here, then Hakolkan, everyone will come. But V'im Einikan, but if you people sin and I remove the Shechinah, Mikan, who would come here? So in other words, he would rejoice in the Simchas Beis HaShoeva, and he would say in the name of Hashem that that when the Shekhinah, as long as the Shekhinah is here, then everyone will come, and if the Shekhinah is not here, people sin. In other words, make sure that we should make sure not to sin, because the whole the presence of Hashem is what makes this place important. And so we have to make sure, again, it's along the same lines as the importance of not sinning and allowing the Shekhinah to rest in the Beis Hamikdash. And so that's what Hillel used to say, Amanikan, Akolkan, Enikan, Mikan. Okay, then the Gembraisa continues. It says, Hu haya Omer, he used to say, Hu haya Omer Kain, L'makam shani oyev, the place that I love, Sham raglai ma'lichos oisi. Place I love meaning the Beis Hamikdash. So Sham raglai ma'lichos oisi, my feet bring me there. And so the point is that my feet take me here, even if I don't even if I don't intentionally come here, somehow my feet lead me over here. They would lead me to the Beis Hamikdash, and so that's what he used to say, that Makam Shani Oyev Sham Raglim my feet sort of take me here without even my intention. The question is, Hillel was in the time of the second Beis Hamikdash. It didn't have the major Shechina of the first Beis Hamikdash, but nevertheless, it had some level of Shechina. Or maybe it even had the same level. It was missing a few things, a few items, but nevertheless, it definitely had some level of the Shechina, even in the second Beis Hamikdash. Okay, Imtava Yel Beisi, he would also say in the name of Hashem that if you come to my house, my Beis Hamikdash, Ani Avayel Beisecha, I will come to your house and bring my Shechina there. If you don't come to my house, I won't come to your house. All the place that I will have my name mentioned, I will come to you and bless you, meaning I'll bless your house. Now, Hillel saw a skull that was floating on the water, and obviously he was murdered, and Amar Law, so he said to the skull, Al diateft atfuch, because you drowned someone else, you got drowned, or you're metifayech yutufun, and those that drowned you, they will be drowned as well. In other words, because you killed someone else, that's why you got killed, and whoever killed you, they're going to get killed. They're going to have to pay for what they did. And so it's a measure for measure. Again, these are things that Hillel used to say. Okay. Amar Rabbi Yochanan Raglohi Devar Inish Inun Arvin Bey. So Hillel's Rabbi Yochanan said that the feet of a person, they are the co-signers for him. Asar de misbei
They're responsible for.
What'd you say?
He says the feet of a person are responsible for him.
Okay. They are the Arev is like a cosigner, a person who whatchamacallit, a guarantor. So an Arev is the guarantor. So the feet of the person are the guarantors that he's going to die when the time comes. La'asar demisbe'i, to the place where he is demanded, meaning from heaven, that they're going to take his soul. Tamon Maivilan Yaseh, they bring him to where he's supposed to be to get to die, meaning that a person that's all. Being that we just mentioned about the fact that a person who killed others, he will get killed. He saw this skull and he understood that. So the Gemara continues with the similar idea with Rabbi Yochanan. The feet of a people, they bring they're the guarantors for him, that wherever he's needs to be, his feet will bring him there, and ultimately he'll have happened to him what is supposed to happen. Yes,
he says here to the place where he's in demand, not like where they demanded he go, but where he's in demand. There they lead him.
Mm-hmm. What does that mean?
Well, I guess if it's like if I'm just guessing, like if a person
let me tell you Rashi, and you can tell me if that's what it means.
Okay.
Rashi says the place where it's decreed upon him to die there, that's where he is needed. He is requested that they should take his soul. So in other words, he somehow his feet direct him to that place where he's supposed to die there, and so that's what it means. La'asar de misbeh, the place where he's needed, where he's supposed to be. Now, is that what you were saying, or is that something else?
No, but I can't argue with Rashi.
Okay.
I was saying, like, for instance, if a person's a crook and they need a crook, there he's going to be in demand.
Yeah, I don't know if that really fits over here. So anyway, so it's, in other words, the feet of a person where he's decreed to die. That's where he's supposed to have his soul taken. His feet will somehow take him to that place. So the Gemara says a story. Hano tre kushoi. There were two people that were called Kushim, and they were beautiful, just like this past week's parsha, where we read that Isha Kushis Lakach, that Moshe married a beautiful woman. Torah uses the term an Ethiopian woman or a black woman. And it's a term that just like everyone agrees that a black person is black, or so the color black is black. So also everyone knows that also everyone agreed that these people were that she was beautiful. And so here it's talking about that there were two Kushai, two handsome people standing before the king. Their names were Elichoref Va'achia B'nei Shisha. And Elichoref and Achia, the children of Shisha. So these were the two. The Seifrim, the Shleima Havu. They were Seifrim. They were the scribes for him. And they would write his chronicles. So one day Shleima saw that the Malach HaMavis was sad. Amar Lei. So Shleima asked him, why are you sad? Amar Lei. He said, I'm supposed to take these two beautiful ones that are sitting here. And so Shlomo Melech thought, let me try to save them. So Masrinhu L'Seirim. So he gave them over to demons. Shadrinu L'Mechuza de Luz, and he sent them to the city Luz, because it says that in Luz, the Malach HaMaves doesn't have any power in that city. So he sent them there. Kimatu L'Mechuz de Luz Shchivu. When they arrived there in the gate, they died. L'machar chazia malach hamavas. The next day, Shlomo saw the malach hamavas. Dava kabadach. He was laughing. Amar le amai badichas. What are you laughing about? Amar le the place that I was supposed to kill them. Tamon shadartinu. That's where you sent them. Miyad pasach Shlomo v'amar. Immediately Shlomo Melech said, he opened his statement, and he said, Raglohi dvarinish inon arvinbei. The feet of a person are guarantors. La asar de misbei tamon. The asar de misbei tamon mavilon yosei. To a place where he's needed, that's where they bring him. And tamon mavilon yosei, there his feet will bring him there. So that's the story. Tanya was taught in a brayso. Amar olav al Shimon ben Gamliel, when Shimon Gamliel was rejoicing in Simchas Beis Hashem, and until Shemina Avuka Shalar, he would juggle with 8 torches. He would throw one and would catch one, and none of them would touch each other. When he would bow, he was able to stick his 2 thumbs ba'aretz on the earth, and he would lean v'shaycha, and he would bend down, meaning he would hang himself. He would hold himself up by his thumbs, and he would bend down. And kiss the ground, and he would stand up. So he was able to hold himself on his thumbs. Don't try to do this, by the way. The ain't called Beria Yechela Lasses came, and people are not regular people. Were not able to do this. Zuhi kida, but this is called kida. This is a type of bowing that was done. Not everyone can do this. It's a ankle barrier, but I think it could really get hurt. If I remember the Gemara says Levi achva ki achvi kida kamei de Rebbe. Levi did this kida before Rebbe v'itla, and he started limping because it's not so simple. Too much weight on certain on his thighs, and anyway, so he became he limped. So the Gemara asks, "Well, Garmalay, did this cause it?" Don't say things against Hashem. Because there was a guy who did said things negative against Hashem, and he started limping. Amano, who was it? It was Levi, and so it wasn't because he did this kiddo. It was because he spoke negative against Hashem, and he said that Hashem, you don't have mercy on your people because why do you have mercy? So he spoke negative, and therefore that was what caused him to have this limp. So the Gemara answers Havaha Garmalay. There were 2 things that caused it. Anyway, bottom line is that there was they said about Hashem Gamliel, he would juggle with 8 torches. By the way, in the Guinness Book of World Records, it mentions over there that the greatest juggler was able to do torches 7. So here we have Hashem Gamliel is actually able to do 8 torches. So he basically would have beat everyone. All right, we're going to stop here. Sei gesund, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you,
Thank
Rabbi.
you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Rabbi, they mentioned the Guinness in your Gemara?
No, someone was mentioning it to me.
That's amazing.
Figured I'd share it. All right.
Thank you, Rabbi.